This is a presentation of Insurance WebEx. Today's topic, the Home Equity Conversion Mortgage Program, with syndicated financial columnist and talk show host Steve Savant, and popular platform speaker, best-selling author, and adjunct professor of the American College, Don Graves.
Well, welcome everyone to Insurance WebEx. I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and talk show host.
And I'm Don Graves, retirement income certified professional.
Today, Don and I are talking about the HECM loans, which are becoming huge retirement strategies. Don, I've never had anybody that's an expert on this. You're an adjunct professor at the American College. You've been teaching this now for a long time. You're just now getting known in our circuit of advisors and insurance professionals. I have to say, some of these strategies are going to be a game saver and a godsend for a lot of our clients.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about introduce people into HECM, because every time everybody hears the HECM, what the heck does HECM mean?
The HECM, the Home Equity Conversion Mortgage, is a federally insured loan, came out in 1988, authorized by Congress, signed by the president, that allows senior homeowners, retirees aged 62 years and over, to convert a portion of the home's equity and turn it into tax-free money, and that can be used for a variety of financial planning strategies.
You know, I was thinking about this as a tactical issue. When we lost file and suspend on Social Security, that really hurt the poor. People said that was really targeted by Congress to actually take affluent Americans and not let them game the Social Security system. Now we're looking at a thing that you could use a reverse mortgage, if I understand it correctly. That money is a loan. That loan is never treated as ordinary income, so it's tax-free, as you've suggested.
That's correct.
I could see our clients taking their Social Security in concert and in tandem with a reverse mortgage and getting both of those as a tax-free income if they had no other income at all. And for the poor and impoverished seniors, this could be a game changer.
It's a game changer for not just them, Steve, but the mass affluent, the trajectory of the reverse mortgage for the last nearly 30 years. For a good portion of that, it was the needs-based client. But in the last 5 or 6 years, because of the financial thought leaders and the acceptance by a wide range of those in the financial planning community, we've moved to the mass affluent. Let's take the Social Security for an example. You've got a client who reaches age 62, and they know, because they've been to the seminars, if I defer this till age 70, it's going to be better. But I need the income right now. Is there a bridge? Certainly. Housing wealth becomes a bridge. So they look at their $400,000 home, they turn it into a $200,000 reverse mortgage, but they only use a portion of that for the 5, 7, 8 years to defer, and then they shut off that reverse mortgage. The impact of that in terms of the spousal benefits upon the death of the primary earner and the longevity to the portfolio are tremendous. Every advisor worth their salt has to understand these principles.
Right, and I love your tactical issue, using a bridge to get from maybe age 62 and deferring Social Security when I can maximize it out. I mean, I'm not going to find 8% simple anywhere.
Sure.
That's a great deal. All right, now, reverse mortgage. Now, of course, our good friend Senator Thompson died last year, and he was a front man for reverse mortgages. And my favorite, of course, my time was on, the Fonz was pushing. Henry Winkler is pushing reverse mortgages.
Sure.
Those two have been the front men. I think, Don, you're becoming the front man and the advisor now, because everybody is going to your seminars, hearing you talk about this, because the impact to senior lifestyle is so huge. Talk a little bit about, now we've talked about reverse mortgages, talk about this other thing, because when you first told me this, I was like, this cannot be true. We're going ahead and we're buying a home for half of its value. How can that be?
In 2008, after the Great Crash, the Housing Economic and Recovery Act, a part of that allowed a totally new reverse mortgage program called the HECM for Purchase. With that, it allows a retired client to purchase a home with around 50% down and have no monthly mortgage payment. Let me explain how it works. I had a client just the other week. They had $535,000 already in savings, but their withdrawal rate and everything they were doing, they were still coming up short. And I said to them, if I could show you a way on how to purchase a home and increase your retirement assets, would you want to know? So here's what they did. They sold their house. They paid off an existing mortgage. They had $400,000 left over in proceeds. They bought a $300,000 home, and I'll give 2 examples of that. Now, traditionally, they could just take all their proceeds, $400,000 to buy the $300,000, and it's over. But with the HECM for Purchase, watch this. The $300,000 new home, they only have to bring $150,000 down. So they did that. And so they had, of the 400, they brought $150,000 down. They had 250,000, actually $253,000 left over that they were able to add back with the help of their advisor. I don't get into that realm, but to the advisor, I said, now you're going to be able to add $253,000 back to their lifestyle. It was a game changer. So that's an example of someone who says, I'm going to go from this size to this size. But what about the person who says, there's the home I'd really like? Sam had a home, sold his home for $400,000 and wanted to buy a $600,000 home in a beautiful gated community. Now he's got $400,000 cash and a $600,000 home. He doesn't want to take out a mortgage and make payments, nor does he want to take it out of his retirement savings account. He used the HECM for purchase. Remember, the $600,000 house, he put down just around half, $300,000. Well, he had $400,000. Can you imagine this, Steve? $300,000 for Sam. It was $287,000. Purchased a $600,000 home, and he still had $113,000 left over. Friends, this is a retirement game changer. It's the single greatest, fastest growing way baby boomers are going to change their retirement status. You need to know about that.
Now, just to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yep.
He still has a mortgage,
But
he doesn't have a mortgage payment.
this is exactly right.
Okay, so when I'm thinking, I still have to pay my property taxes. I still have to pay my homeowner's insurance.
Right.
But I don't have a mortgage payment.
That's correct.
Now, one of the things that I've heard a lot of advisors that talk about this, Don, and I want your opinion on this, this should be a purchase that you're pretty much going to live in. This home is going to be your final resting place, right? I mean, you could sell it, but I think it's really, you need to think that this is your final home that you're going to live in.
Sure. And most of the boomers who are buying homes in retirement, that's really what they're after. No more shoveling, no more raking, newer appliance, synergy with others just like them. And they're going to stay there, presumably, for the remainder of their days. And that makes great sense because the home you raised your kids in, they're probably not going to, I hope they don't come back and live with you anymore. So you can move to something that's tailor-made and designed for your retirement. And if you can do that, Steve, and add $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 back into your investable assets or back into your retirement savings, let's say that.
Sure.
What a game changer after 2008 and 2009 to be able to rehab your retirement with this little known strategy.
I think I'm all over this for our seniors and for myself. There's now a third idea that you want to talk about, and this one is the one that kind of took me back because I know what conventional loans are. I know what conventional equity home lines of credit is. I know what that is. The HECM Equity Home Line of Credit is so different. I've just never seen anything about this. Talk about this because this could be huge.
Well, it's crazy. I don't know if I could say a word like that on your show. I went up to the Center for Retirement Research at Boston College, and there we did a presentation. Dr. Alicia Manel, fantastic researcher. And after that, I interviewed 7 of the PhDs and said, what surprised you the most about reverse mortgage? The majority of them said that the line of credit has a built-in guaranteed growth factor. And today it's around 5.5%. What does that mean? Couple A goes to the bank, they get a line of credit for their home, $100,000. Couple B goes and gets a reverse mortgage line of credit. Same type of functionality, except this. 5 years later, couple A, who got a standard HELOC, their line of credit is still $100,000.
And explain that acronym.
Home equity line of credit. Traditional. Couple B got a reverse mortgage line of credit. $100,000, except it's got a 5.5% growth factor rate. So the first year is $105,500, next year $112,000, next year $118,000. And so after 5 years, one was here and the other had a built-in growth factor, and it grew irregardless of the home's value. Built-in guaranteed growth factor, which means, think about this. If you're an advisor and you've got a person who, they've got income, they've got investments, they have insurances, and now you add to that a fourth bucket, as you were, called housing wealth, a standby line of credit that has a built-in guaranteed growth factor today at 5.5%. What have you done for your client? You've given them the what if factor, right? That means if the market's down, if you have them in the market, they don't have to pull out of the market. They can use their what if bucket. If they want to spend something, you're saying, oh, that's too much for your budget. They say, well, I've got this what if bucket. The list goes on and on and on. Someone said, Dr. Jack Guttentag says, you know what this is called? Listen, folks, You may want to write this down. It's called equity insurance. We know life insurance, we know homeowners insurance, we know medical insurance, we know car insurance, but equity insurance, Steve, is a way that you can lock in your ability to access equity to your home from this day clear into the future that has a built-in guaranteed growth factor. Jack Guntag says, Dr. Jack Guntag says, it's the cheapest insurance you'll ever purchase.
Now, this is quite a departure from the conventional equity line of credit that we're used to. So this is a brand new way of approaching it. I want to talk about using this in a tandem, because we talked about the first one was I'm going to buy a home, half the price. You said there's a way to buy a home and have a line of credit at the same time. Talk about that combination idea. I love that.
That's like going to McDonald's back in the old days and said, supersize me. This just takes your retirement to a whole new level. And I'll try to explain it. Let's use the client. The first one I mentioned, they had $400,000 in proceeds left over, and they're purchasing a $300,000 home. And I said they could do that, and we use the HECM, and the HECM would make half of that available, and so they only have to put down a certain amount. But this person says, you know what, Don, I don't need that money. I want to leave the money in the reverse mortgage. Don, if the house costs $300,000, I've got $400,000, can I put all of the $300,000 inside? I said, yes, you can. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to move in that house, and now you're going to create a $150,000 line of credit with the reverse mortgage.
I still have no mortgage.
Have no mortgage, but now you've got this pot of money over here that's growing for you at 5.5%. I said, now you can access that at any time you want, use it for whatever you want, but it's protected, it's locked up, it's growing, and you haven't eaten any of the equity in your home. So you've got a home that's fully paid for, plus you've got a growing line of credit within that HECM strategy, and because you still got money left over on the outside. All of this is, we're doing it visually and verbally, but I want to tell the audience that this is powerful. Anytime an advisor can say to a client, would it be okay if we had a backup plan for your retirement savings? What do you think the client's going to say? No, it's not okay to have a backup plan. Of course they are. If that backup plan, listen to this, who can say to their client, we can create something, a strategy that's going to guarantee this type of growth with no, there's no cap on the upside. Who could say that to an advisor?
Well, I like the ability of getting rid of my mortgage payment and having a cash reserve at the ready. How fast is it at the ready? I write a check.
That's it.
I love that. Well, I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and talk show host.
And I'm Don Graves, retirement income certified professional, and you can find me at AskDonGraves.com.
This has been a presentation of Insurance WebEx.